So this is a podcast and a show that's dedicated to executives in the B2B industrial world. This is a show for manufacturers, distributors, and wholesalers who are passionate about growth. And I'm so excited that you're able to join me today. I want to tell you a little bit about what you can expect on the show, The Takeover. First and foremost, this show is all about attitude. This is a show that I've put together with my team here, and it's something that comes out of my desire to really share my passion for growth, share my passion for change, share my passion for leadership and what that means in our industry. And I know many of you who are listening to the show, you go through the same struggles that I go through myself as a business owner. And what I've tried to do here is put together a show that has a different kind of attitude. This is a show that's for tigers, not tabbies. And what I mean by that is that we often say tigers starve last in a competitive environment. And I am really super passionate about helping companies and business owners who are aggressive about growth and change and adaptation. This is a show where we're going to talk about bunking the status quo. We're going to do things differently. We're going to talk about ideas that are outside of the box. We're going to discuss topics that you may not have discussed before, things that may even be a little bit frightening to talk about implementing at your business. And that's good, I think, because what we're going to do is challenge each other. And we're going to listen to different thought leaders. And we're going to learn about the best practices that are working out there in different industries and different sectors. And we're going to take those into our business. And hopefully we're going to find things that move the needle for us. And we're going to drive change in our organizations. And that's going to be important for us because we are about building legacy. So I want to tell you a little bit about the show. I'm really inviting you to come along with me on this journey. This is a totally unscripted show. I have notes, but really it's about me and you connecting and for you to come alongside me as I learn and grow along the way. So I've gone out and I've looked for people who I believe are talking about important ideas, people that are on the cutting edge of their different disciplines, whether it is marketing or sales or wholesale distribution or manufacturing or R&D. And we're going to talk to these people and we're going to learn from them together because I care about these things and I know you care about them as well. So you may be wondering, what are we going to talk about on the show? Well, some of the ideas that we've had and some of the topics that we're planning on covering, I think are going to be very interesting for you as an executive or as an owner of small to medium-sized business. We're going to be talking about leadership. We're going to be talking about what it means to lead a team and build a culture and organization that really stands the test of time. We're going to be talking about organization, and we're going to talk about productivity and some of those things that I know are important for you in order for you to generate the bottom line that you need. Because we are so familiar with wholesale distribution and because we're so familiar with the world of industrial supply, we're going to be talking a lot about things like logistics and manufacturing and warehousing. Those are some of the topics that are going to be unique to our show that you may not find on other leadership type shows out there. I find that some of my sweet spots are in new product development, R&D. We're going to be talking about if you're a manufacturer, we're going to talk about how to launch a new product. What does a good new product process look like? How do we get new products to the marketplace? We're going to be talking about different ways of manufacturing. We're going to be talking about finance. And this is an area where I'm going to lean heavily on some of my guests to learn more about what are the best practices for keeping your books and managing the top and bottom lines respectively. And of course, we're going to be talking about sales and marketing. That is my favorite thing, so we'll be jumping into that. and we'll be having guests on the show who will be experts at B2B sales and marketing. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of things as it relates to those areas: e-commerce, inbound marketing, traditional marketing, print collateral, sales enablement, CRM, you name it. We're going to be talking about technology, but we're going to talk about it from the perspective of the business owner and not necessarily the person who is on the ground implementing these things. Many of you who are familiar with my previous show, Grow Live, you're going to notice some big differences between this show and that previous show. And I'll just stop for a minute and just kind of reflect on what we did with Grow Live, and certainly very proud of what we did, and excited about the people that have benefited from that show. I've had countless people come to me and tell me how valuable it was that we shared information about things like Google My Business and e-commerce best practices and project management and that sort of thing. And I believe that those things are very valuable, and we'll certainly keep all of that up on our YouTube channel and on our website. But going forward, I found that what I really had a heart for was leadership, and basically communicating the big ideas that are happening in these worlds of sales and marketing and innovation, and bridging the gap between those areas and traditional B2B wholesale world. And I think that's something that's missing. That's a conversation that we're not having very often. And I'm excited about having this opportunity to talk about that with you guys. So I'm excited about that. We're going to be talking about leadership, and we're going to be talking to leaders and to executives and to CEOs. And it's really it's a show for executives in wholesale world by executives in the wholesale world. So we're walking in the same shoes together, and I hope that the conversations that we have will be valuable to you. Now, before we go too far, I want to talk about some of the guests that we're going to have on the show, and I'm really excited about this. We've actually gone out and we've planned ahead, and we've got some guests coming on the show. So you're going to hear from folks that are going to join me here on the set or over the phone. So I'll be able to have like a video conference with them or a phone conference, and we'll have them on the show, and they're going to join me here at the Takeover. These are folks coming that are experts in their fields. So the first guest we're going to have is Renee Boer. He's a highly sought after EOS traction implementer. If you're not familiar with the EOS traction model, it's a book, and I highly recommend it. It's what we use here in my business. We're going to talk about that with him. We're going to be talking to Lindsay Konzak. She is the owner and operator of Three Aspens Media. She does content marketing. So we're going to be talking about leadership and operating systems and content marketing. And we'll have Dirk Beveridge on the show in the near future. And he's from Unleash WD. Here's a guy who is, like me, passionate about driving innovation and change for distributors, wholesale distributors. So that'll be a very awesome, fascinating conversation. Dirk's a great speaker. So we're going to have him on the show. And this is what I'm maybe the most excited about. I'm going to be having one of the guys that I most respect in this industry, one of the businessmen that I most respect and look up to, and that is my father, Wayne Johnson. And he's going to be on the show. He, of course, is the CEO of Accuform, and I've watched him all my life. I've watched his career, and very excited about having him on the show. He is an expert when it comes to things like customer service, culture, innovation, sales and marketing. And we're going to have him, be picking his brain. And of course, we're going to be talking about family business when he comes on my show. So we're going to be talking about the ins and outs and the intricacies and some of the challenges and maybe some of the benefits of being a part of a family business. And I know that's a lot of you out there who are in small to medium size industrial business or wholesale business. I know that you guys are a lot of times running in a family business, and you're operating with your family and you're working with them on a day-to-day basis. And that's what I wanted a big part of the show to be. So we're going to bring on guests, regular guests to the show, and we're going to pick their brains. But one of the standing features of the show, one of the pillars, I hope, is conversations that you'll get to be a part of with me and my dad. So looking forward to that most of all. And guys, I'm so excited about the show, and I hope you can tell. I hope you can see that this is going to be exciting for the industry. I hope you can see it's going to be a great resource. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to be talking about the story. So I'm going to be opening up a little bit about me and my background. But before we do, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to listen to some sponsors, and then we'll come back and I'll jump into my story. We were made for this industry. We've been learning, listening, and adapting for over 15 years. But I feel like we've only just begun. From the beginning, our mission was to help industrial suppliers grow their business. Today, the world is spinning faster than ever before, and we refuse to slow down because nothing less than the future is at stake. For many of our clients, we are the bridge between yesterday and tomorrow, helping them seize the moment today. You know, they say tigers starve last. Are you hungry? Are you playing offense, attacking the market and driving change? Or are you retreating to the boardroom, trying to figure out how to survive? Everything we do is about building relationships and brands that stand the test of time. So yeah, we're crazy passionate about helping you transform your business. That's our legacy. What's yours?
When ordinary signage won't do, armor up with a protection that's powerful enough to survive any environment. Duck Armor by Accuform. Designed to protect against scratches, scrapes, and impacts. Built to endure damaging chemical washing, graffiti resistant, and able to withstand UV yellowing or fading, plus cold weather cracking. Duck Armor is the original liquid laminate coating, pioneered by Accuform. Don't fall for a decoy.
Huh?
Get Duck Armor. We don't send strongmen into battle without armor. Get the sign coating you know will last against harsh abrasions, tough chemicals, taggers, and extreme environments. Duck Armor is tough enough for scratches, scrapes, impacts, weather, washing, sun, graffiti, and... What are you doing?
I was just gonna...
What? No. Why would you do that? Like all liquid laminate signs, Duck Armor's ultra-hard surface cleans easily, like water off a duck's back, and it withstands tough conditions, keeping your sign and message clear. But only Duck Armor can protect more than your signs, with over 90,000 products armed and ready. Not like that. Don't pay for protective coating on cheap sign material. Duck Armor gives you superior coating on premium signs at no extra cost. All the protection without the bill. Your facility deserves the best protection on the best signs. Durable and resilient. Light as a feather. Duck Armor has you covered.
All right, guys, welcome back. For this first show, seeing as though it's a solo cast, or it's me just by myself, I figured it would be interesting maybe to hear a little bit about my story, the Takeover story, the Matt Johnson story, whatever you want to call it. I want to give you a little bit about my background and the legacy that I've been stepped into. I'll tell you a little bit about my history and how I got to where I am today. So it all started way up in Canada, with my grandparents, and they were tremendous, hardworking folks, Irish and English immigrants, and their family had settled in Canada, in Ontario, actually just outside of Toronto. And they got together, and my grandfather, when he came out of the Navy, he went to work for a company called Fiber Metal. Now, many of you in the safety industry probably are familiar with that name, Fiber Metal. They create welding helmets and hard hats. Really old, really well-established company, trusted brand when it comes to that product category. Well, Ron Johnson, my grandfather, was a sales rep for Fiber Metal. He started off at an entry-level inside sales position, quickly worked his way out to outside sales, and was very successful with Fiber Metal, and was one of their best sales reps, helped really establish their market in Canada at the time. And he entered the world of industrial safety and supply. And so after fiber metal, he was looking to do his own thing, and my grandfather caught the entrepreneurial bug. He, much like myself, really wanted to work for himself. He wanted to do his own thing, and he had some success selling safety products. And so what he did was he opened up a safety supply company in the basement of his home in Ontario, Canada. So he and my grandmother, Veronica, they got together and they started selling safety equipment right out of their basement. So this was a startup company, and they did very, very well. The company was called Armor Protection Supplies, and they had a lot of success in a short amount of time. And as they were going out, and as my grandfather went out and he was selling to industrial end users and these big facilities up there in Canada, he would go around to these places and he would go and he would say, what do you need? And they would say, well, I got enough gloves and stuff like that, but I really could use these signs. You know anybody who makes signs? And my grandfather, who never missed an opportunity, he saw this and he said, yes, I can do that. And so he went to a local sign shop and he said to them, hey, listen, I have a customer who would like some custom signs. Here's my order. And he put the paper on the desk, and the guy looked at it and almost fell over his chair because he saw it was like 500 signs, danger signs or something like that. And the guy said, listen, man, I'll help you with a few of these orders, but this is really more signs than I can handle. Because the industrial signs, it's not just one or two, it's hundreds and hundreds at a time. So he said, well, that's interesting. It seems like there's quite a bit of a need here in a market. So he went and he actually offered to purchase the equipment from the local sign shop. So the local sign shop gave him a deal on the equipment, and Ron went into the business of making safety signs. And this is how the company Accuform was created. So my grandfather and my grandmother, they traveled down to Florida, and that's how I ended up here in Florida. And Accuform Signs was birthed. And he spent the next couple decades traveling around the Gulf Coast, up and down the Southeast, and eventually making its way all the way to the West Coast, covering the entire continental United States and parts of Canada. And Accuform had become a reliable, trusted brand in the safety industry. And many safety distributors, because that's what my grandfather knew. He understood the safety distribution business. He went to them and he showed them how they could make money selling safety signs. And so his methodology was to go around, set up safety distributors to help them sell signs to their customers. And guess the rest is really history. So that really was the birth of our family's legacy in terms of our involvement in the industrial supply world, and it really continued with the reins being handed over to my father and my uncle, Dave and Wayne Johnson, and they went and they took the business really to the next level. So they took what my grandfather had started, the concept, the distribution network, and my father went out and sold for the next couple decades after that, and really developed a really strong partnership of distributors across the country. And that's when our business started to take off. My dad was the salesman. He was the visionary. If you watch the EOS episode next week, we'll talk about the visionary and the integrator and how those roles play themselves out in leadership. But my dad, being the visionary and the sales guy and the marketing guy, he worked really well at building the Accuform brand and selling our products. And my uncle was excellent at implementing these new product ideas and technology implementation. He would go out and he'd find the new technology. He would put it into production, and we got better and faster at creating signs. And we quickly grew the business to over 8 figures in just a couple of decades. So that was an exciting time in the period of Accuform. Accuform was really cranking along by the time I graduated high school and was heading out to college. And I really saw the success of my dad, and I thought, that's awesome. That's great for him. Wow, signs. Ooh, that's exciting. Not really. So what I did was I kind of thought, I'm going to go make my own way in the world, and I'm going to do what I really want to do. And at that time, it was golf. And so I thought, I'll become a professional golfer, or if I can't play on tour, then maybe I'll go manage a golf course somewhere. So I went off to college and really fizzled out early in a golfing career. Didn't have as much success as I had hoped. I realized that it was something I liked to do, but it was something I couldn't do for a career. And I had done a few other little things here and there, and I came to the realization that maybe there was a spot back home. And besides, I needed a job. I was out of college. I needed to pay for rent somehow. So I came crawling back home, the prodigal son. Came back to the family business, which was really doing well at the time. And I reluctantly came back. And in the beginning, I got to be honest, it was struggle. It was tough. I wasn't really into what I was doing. I didn't have any aspirations on staying. I thought that it was a short-term gig. But to be honest with you, I grew up quick and had big life transformation things happen to me when I was 21 years old. Got married early, took on immediately a little boy, being my son, and I was off and running. I realized I had to do something. I had to figure out what I was going to do. So what happened was I took it seriously, and I started to do the best I could. And I leaned into my strengths, and I took on different roles, everything from creative roles to project management roles. I bounced around the company. I learned a ton. And in 10 years, I was able to work my way up to the R&D and new product development director role. And that's really where I flourished, and that was what I loved to do, was to create new ideas and to bring those ideas to life. And we had a lot of success in that role. And I was actually asked to join the Accuform leadership team, at the ripe age of 28. So that was exciting. I learned a ton being on that leadership team, and things were really, really good. I was enjoying my career. I had really found my passion. I embraced the family business, and things were going well. So one day, we were sitting together as a leadership team, and we're going over kind of the enterprise in general, and what are the businesses in the company doing, what are the different departments. And so one of the businesses that we had spun off from Accuform was a small company called Safety Marketing Services. And this company was really struggling at the time. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. And we were actually thinking about maybe rolling it up and shutting it down. And I never really thought about it before, but something just hit me. And I said, well, this could be an interesting project. This could be an opportunity for me to kind of branch out on my own. And so I think the entrepreneurial bug hit me at that moment. And I stood up and I said, hey, why don't you let me take this thing over and see if I can't turn it around in a couple years? And they said, sure, if you want to take a stab at it, go ahead. We'll give you a couple years and see if you can make a difference. And that's what I did. So the transformation began. I came over and I saw, we had really only a couple of products that we were selling, a couple of services, and we had to really reinvent who we were. And so we rebranded, we put together a new message, a new set of products and services, and we began selling, and we grew very quickly. So over the last 3.5 years, we've experienced double-digit growth, and we are here today. We've actually rebranded. We've named the company Spin Stack. It is a full-service marketing agency and growth agency, and things are really, really well today. We're certainly not where we want to be. And that's where the takeover comes in. Because to me, the takeover is about me learning how to take over in this role as a CEO and as an executive. I'm learning how to run a business. I'm learning how to keep financials. I'm learning how to innovate. I'm learning how to drive change. I'm learning how to build a culture where the people here are excited to come to work every day. A place where people can experience that work-life balance as much as possible. and really innovating, not just for ourselves, but for our clients and for the greater industry that we serve. And so out of that background, all the way from Canada and through the industrial supply world and distribution business and sign manufacturing and a marketing agency, all the way here to you in the camera, this is the Takeover. And I'm excited about you coming alongside of me and learning with me. And I guess I'll wrap it up there, and I just want to say that I'm excited. I'm excited for you to join me. Thank you for coming to the first episode of the Takeover. As we wrap up, I just have 3 tips for you. If you're a listener, if you're a new listener, or if maybe you've listened to the last show, the Grow Live show. Here's 3 tips that you can take just to make the most out of this show. Number 1, subscribe so that you never miss an episode. So you can subscribe on YouTube, you can subscribe on iTunes, you can subscribe on SoundCloud, or go to our website and subscribe to our blog. So those are some ways that you'll be able to subscribe. Number 2 is to take action on what you hear. Now today, obviously, this is me sharing my background and story. But in future episodes, we're going to have some really cool guests on the show, and you're going to learn a ton from these thought leaders. So make sure that this isn't just music, background music to you. I want you guys to take what you learn and apply it. So that you can live what you're listening to. And number 3 is hopefully the discussions that we have here trickle into your leadership team, so that when you guys get together, you can start working on your business instead of working in your business. And hopefully some of these ideas and conversations make it into those meetings. So those are my 3 tips, and this is the Takeover, guys. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Next week, we're going to be joined by the Traction EOS implementer, Renee Boer. I'm excited to have him on. And until next time, guys, this is the Takeover. This is the place where B2B executives learn to grow their business, drive positive change, and build a legacy that stands the test of time. Thanks for coming. I'll see you next time.